through storms, unshaken, unbowed. From trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it loud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich.
Welcome everyone to the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. I am Zester and I hope everyone's having an amazing Monday. What is up, Kukla and Mile High Trish? Welcome. Good morning. Oh, and I see already got questions coming on in. I'm going to say a few more hellos and then I'm going to go ahead and start answering some questions because I'll go ahead and give you a heads up. We're pretty light on news in terms of this morning, but we have a few really important articles to jump in and check out. And so going to be likely a short one, but it always depends. There may be tons of really awesome questions that need answered, in which case, well, we'll go until we get all of those handled. What's up, Crazy Chester? Welcome. Yeah, Crazy Chester, maybe it's too early for beer and Bitcoin. I guess brunch and Bitcoin. Yeah, brunch and Bitcoin. I don't know. I'm trying to think of another one off the top of my head. I was just playing with it this morning and went with crypto coffee. But I mean, Crazy Kryptonaut coffee. We got 3 C's. Oh, but thank you so much for joining. I'll be thinking on that one, Crazy Chester. Good morning, David. Thank you so much for the apple. Thank you. Good morning, Nana Anna. And yes, before I do start answering any questions, here's an important one. Thank you, Kukla, for making certain that I cover it. Please do remember that the content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide financial advice. Please consult with a financial professional before making investment decisions. Thank you very much for that one. What's up, Neil, coming in from North Kakalaki? Welcome. Robin Parker. Good morning, Robin. Is it a holiday today or yesterday in Puerto Rico? I'm not certain which one you're referencing in regards to that one there, Robin. I am not certain. Did I miss a Puerto Rican holiday that snuck by? I don't think I missed one, but maybe I did. There are a few holidays down here that are very, very that are celebrated in a different way than what I'm used to. But all right. Let me know what that holiday was though that I missed in Puerto Rico there, Robin Parker. I'm going to go ahead though and get a question answered here. Smooch, got the Nano X because I use Android. Am I in trouble because of Bluetooth? Smooch, not at all. With Bluetooth, it's just one extra step that you need to remember. You just need to be conscious of the fact that your device connects via Bluetooth and that it has a battery. And that means you're going to need that battery to be charged and you're going to need that Bluetooth to be connected in order to use it. One other caveat that I recommend is making certain that you turn off the Bluetooth whenever you aren't planning on using it for an extended period of time. And then just remembering that you need to make certain to charge it before you plan on doing things with it. But it charges so quickly. If you plugged it into, say, a computer for, a couple seconds, you could start using it immediately while it was charging. It's really not a big deal. So Smooch, no, nothing to worry about at all. I only just kind of say that, the X or above in terms of the Ledger hardware wallets, those are for people that are only going to use their phones. If that's like a requirement, then you got to go with the X or above. And if you are an Android user, Smooch, and you want to be able to use it on your Android phone, then bam, that's perfect. So no worries there at all, Smooch. I think you got exactly what you need. Yeah, Robin Parker, there really wasn't any major celebration or anything around. I feel bad now for having missed it, but I feel a little bit better because none of my friends down here mentioned anything about it, and they're all from the island. Yeah. Good morning there, Kim. Good morning. Good morning. While we wait to see any new questions coming in, I'm going to go ahead and jump in to some of our news stories today. And as always, we're going to start by just checking out and seeing where the markets are at the moment. Things are looking, well, fairly steady at this point in time. We got Bitcoin sitting right under 108,000. We've got Ethereum sitting over 2,500. XRP sitting at over $2.25. Solana 155. Cardano 67 cents on that one. Chainlink 14. Stellar sitting at 26 cents. Stellar actually seems to be really the only one that's not doing pretty well over the 7 days. Still not doing bad, though, in the slightest. Markets have been pretty darn happy as of late. Still a lot of uncertainty going on, but we're going to jump in and look at what some of the good news is. We're also going to look at one of the kind of crazy opinion pieces that's out there right now, because I know it will get everyone in the community excited. But seeing the utilization of blockchain technology spread even further. I talked about this one, guys, talked about how they were going to start tokenizing land. They were going to start tokenizing deeds to houses. They were going to start tokenizing titles to cars. Well, here you go. Central African Republic sets date for tokenized land sale on Solana via controversial CAR meme coin. Entangled in controversy, CAR meme coin propels tokenized land sales while facing skepticism and deepfake accusations. I cannot in any way attest to the viability of the team behind this cryptocurrency in any form or fashion. And so I'm not positive on them, but what I am positive about is that they are actually going through and planning on tokenizing over 1,700 hectares of land on the Solana blockchain. And then they intend to sell those hectares of land on the Solana blockchain. At the center of the storm is CAR, a meme coin launched on Pump.fun in February and touted by CAR president Faustin Archange Todera. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and just admit defeat on that one. As a symbol of national unity and economic revival, the token debuted with a flashy video purportedly featuring Todera himself and a vision leverage the attention-grabbing dynamics of memes to power real-world impact. But cracks appeared almost immediately. The promo account was suspended within 48 hours. Persian language crypto outlets suggest the video might be AI generated. And CoffeeZilla, who is a very, very famous online sleuth in terms of both cryptocurrency and online scams, pointed out that over 76% of the token supply is held in just 4 wallets, which is a very scary position to be in if you're an investor, because that means, well, if one of those 4 wallets decides to start selling, then the price of the cryptocurrency is going to go into the absolute dumpster. And so this one is, and this is something that we keep saying it's happening, but can't point at but so many examples of it occurring in the real world. And here it is, real world asset tokenization. They're tokenizing land at this point. I'm very excited to see how the project actually works out and what a hectare of land in the Central African Republic ends up actually selling for on the Solana blockchain. Anybody out there, is anyone else going to be trying to buy a few hectares of land over their computer via the blockchain when this thing actually goes? I'm curious to see what the community's thoughts are on that one, because this is only the beginning and it's going to end up being all encompassing as we move towards the future. It won't just be tokenized land in some foreign country. It will be, the deed to your car. What is everyone thinking? I figured this one might be a little a little surprising to hear that it's already occurring. And well, also just very, very interesting because it's going to be intriguing to see how successful the land sale ends up being and how they go about actually transferring ownership of the land to the people who bought it from all over the planet, because that's going to be complicated in and of itself. All right, though, jumping back to the states. Newly introduced GOP bill seeks to right Trump's strategic Bitcoin. My apologies there. Those sneezes just absolute ambush attack on those sneezes. But the newly introduced GOP bill seeks to write Trump's strategic Bitcoin reserve into law. So we had actually talked about the Bitcoin Act of 2025 or of 2024 when we first discussed it. And that one was proposed by Senator Cynthia Lummis. It has faced some opposition in the Senate. It's had a tough time in the House of Representatives, but faced major opposition in the Senate because some Republicans broke ranks, and well, actually, more Republicans broke ranks than Democrats from a percentage base point, and that shut down the movement of it in the Senate. That doesn't mean that the Bitcoin Act of 2025 is in any way dead. It's just been slowed down. Now we're seeing other bills, other legislations being put forth by other Congress members in regards to the strategic Bitcoin reserve. I actually am planning on going through and reading this one today because I have not gotten to read through the entire bill itself. Remember that the other Bitcoin bill actually called for the revaluation of the Federal Reserve gold. And so in that regard, that one was very, very intriguing. I'm curious to see whether this next proposal includes that as well, or whether that might have been actually the sticking point about where a lot of different politicians were a little worried about the other one. And so right now we essentially have multiple bills that are being pushed through the process, and we're just going to have to kind of sit around and wait to see which one actually ends up crossing the finish line first. So we still got the Bitcoin Act, but now we also have this proposal coming in from Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee, and it aims to codify the exact executive order that Trump put forth in regards to halting all federal Bitcoin auctions and directing agencies to consolidate BTC holdings under Treasury management, and would call for the actual funding of the Bitcoin strategic reserve from U.S. Treasury coffers and etc. And well, here's definitely one that's not exactly fun to think about from our standpoint as American taxpayers. The auctions of the United States government in terms of the past from 2014 to 2021 ended up resulting in over $21 billion in lost upside gains because federal agencies were selling Bitcoin while the prices were continuing to rise. And this is our digital Fort Knox. Treasury Secretary Vivek Ramaswamy said at the March rollout, promising budget neutral and innovative positive implementation. There's a lot to look forward to. Darren Rutt. Well, I guess it's prohibited for residents, not the government. In regards to the car auction, that part I am not positive about, Darren, where they're setting the rules about who can participate. I did make a bit of an assumption there because they're making a public auction on a public blockchain, and they might actually be doing a lot more to limit who participates than I'm giving them credit for. There may be a lot more going in. You might be able to actually go in and win an auction, but then you're not actually a resident or you don't qualify, so you're not allowed to actually take ownership. I'll have to do some research on that one before making any bids. Jellin157, is it possible to recover stolen crypto? Jellin, this always comes down to how and why what was the crypto stolen. And that when I say that, keep in mind, 99.99% of the time, if cryptocurrency is stolen, it's gone and you're not going to be able to get it back. But sometimes there are ways. It's like, say you had your Coinbase account hacked. Well, Coinbase is actually capable of tracking who stole your money. You're able to go through and actually file charges, etc., and potentially someday get your money back. If your wallet, your cryptocurrency wallet, the one you actually own, if somehow you lost control or lost your 24 words and somebody stole them or has access to them, it is going to be nigh impossible to actually get your crypto back unless you literally know where the guy lives and you can go knock on his door and go, maybe rough him up in order to get your cryptocurrency back. But I don't think I would recommend that one. And I'm pretty certain you should probably contact law enforcement rather than going and becoming your own personal enforcer. But that is where it kind of breaks down to, Jellen. Unfortunately, if somebody managed to get your mnemonic phrase or they managed to get the crypto out of your wallet and they sent it off to some other cryptocurrency wallet that they own or that they control, it is going to be nigh impossible to get it back unless they are Americans. If they live inside of the United States, maybe even some European countries, you might be able to get it back. But most of the time, the folks that steal cryptocurrency and etc., they're living in countries in the middle of nowhere that are never going to track down and find the culprit. You're going to have people in, Thailand, Malaysia, Myanmar. You're going to have people in a lot of areas around the world where law enforcement is not going to track them down. Or you've got people in China, North Korea, where their government's only going to pat them on the back for having robbed some Westerners. And that's just where it kind of becomes difficult. Jellen, the unfortunate part about it is that I can track down and probably find exactly where your stolen crypto is or who took it or find out possibly all kinds of information about them. What I can't do is make law enforcement actually enforce the law. And I've used the example before, but this was back in like 2021. I managed to track down a guy, even his passport photo. He had done about a $3.2 million rug pull, a lot of money from about 400 individuals based out of the United States and Canada. I was able to track the guy down. I was able to get his passport photo. I was able to find his address, everything about him. When attempting to contact law enforcement and hand over that information, I was informed that it was a waste of time and that there was nothing that they were going to do about it. $3 million was not enough money to go ahead and start an international manhunt to find this guy. And that was even with the information. So keep in mind the transparency and openness of the blockchain means it's very easy to find these things. But the obstinance from our current governments towards actually enforcing the laws is really the major problem. It's not that the blockchain is not working properly. It's working exactly as intended. It is giving you an exact line, a forensic path line to where the money is and ensuring that we should have the ability to get it back. It's not the technology's fault. It's law enforcement that are not doing their jobs, unfortunately, on this one. And it's very complicated when you're talking about international crime. It is. The guy that stole your money is probably in a village somewhere in the middle of India. How are we supposed to go through and figure out jurisdictions and everything else? It's a complicated one, but it's one that as we move forward with this technology, it's going to get better and better and better because law enforcement has all the tools to actually solve these crimes. Musical Lady, good morning. Good morning, Musical Lady. Musical Lady says, I got to get used to the new time. Sorry for me not tuning in lately. Oh, no worries at all. We are happy to have you. Happy to have you. Darren Rutt, what network would you create a meme coin on? Just an opinion. Well, Pump.fun would allow you to create one on the Solana blockchain. Solana meme coins are very, very cheap to make. That's nice. And so you can go through and you can make a meme token for essentially nothing. And go ahead and put it out there and launch it. And I think it literally costs like $1 to actually launch a meme token on Pump.fun, and it doesn't require any technological know-how of any form or fashion. Pretty much you just have a Solana wallet, connect to pump.fund, pay a fraction of a Solana as a fee to have a meme coin minted and created. It's created, and then it's immediately put out there for sale. So in that regard, pump.fund or Solana would be your easy option. It's also got a lot of money on it. There's a lot of active investors. And so I would highly recommend Solana if I were going to be making a meme token at this point in time. And you never know. Sometimes you make a random token over there on pump.fund and it just gets all the attention in the world and the price starts skyrocketing. Sometimes nobody notices it. But yep, that would be the one. All right, jumping back over to our news stories this morning. All right. Tether USDT stablecoin seen on Bolivian store price tags. Tether CEO Paula Ardono has shared photos of goods in a Bolivian airport shop priced in the company's stablecoin USDT, suggesting growing unofficial use of the cryptocurrency among the country's ailing economy. It's beginning to happen more and more and more. We're going to see this one happen regularly in countries that have a failing currency or who have massive inflationary issues. Bolivia, we could see this in Venezuela. We could see this in Nigeria. We could see this in a lot of the Middle East. We could see it in Zimbabwe. Pretty much anywhere where the government has managed to destroy the value of the national currency, we're going to see more and more and more adoption of cryptocurrency and blockchain solutions. And the stable coin of something like Tether makes it very, very easy for these countries to make a shift. It's pegged to the US dollar. Now the country doesn't have to worry about managing the national currency. For most users, it's very, very easy because now they can pretty much spend that Tether anywhere. You can spend it in any country, or you can cash it out to US dollars whenever you want to. It really does make for a much, 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 much easier option for people starting to accept cryptocurrencies. Stable coins most likely will be the first ones that you see the Amazons of the world accepting because it's the easiest. It's just the US dollar. And so I am still, it's one of those things where every day I wait to see that Walmart online or Amazon or something of that nature has not gone ahead and started accepting USDT, USDC, and hopefully RLUSD very, very soon. All right, Jellin157. That's a bummer. Would you happen to know if I can claim a loss on my taxes? Jellin, if you have cryptocurrency that was stolen, you can claim that as a loss on your taxes. Of course, I am not a tax professional. Please consult with an accountant before going ahead and writing it down. But to my knowledge, that is a financial loss. At that point, all you should need to do is just show them the evidence that you no longer have control over that cryptocurrency. It was stolen. Makes perfect sense to me, Jellin. Makes perfect sense to me. All right. And for our for our last article, it looks like today we might have a pretty short stream, but that's not a bad thing because I am doing a lot of work towards the Wednesday stream this week and providing some office hours for people to have one-on-one sessions to get some crypto stuff handled. And so would not be a bad thing to go running off and getting stuff done today a little bit early if we don't see a bunch more questions come pouring out of nowhere. But here we go, a bit of a fun one. This is, of course, coming out of an analyst. This is someone's opinion. Someone's opinion. XRP price will hit $25 if ETF approved, then crash 90%, new analysis says. XRP traders say it has the potential to rally to $27 as ETF approval odds increase. Analysts predict XRP could hit 20 to 27 in 2025. XRP ETF approval odds jumped to 98% on Polymarket. Now, Polymarket is one of the blockchain like polling gambling type sites where essentially gamblers, educated investors, as some might try to argue they are, but gamblers go in and they place their money, they place their crypto behind which of the different decisions they think is most likely going to be what comes true. So in this case, XRP ETF approval odds, how likely is it that XRP ETFs will be approved? The markets on Polymarket and Kalshi are now saying it's a 98% likelihood, as in AKA everybody pretty much is putting their money on it's going to be announced any day. And, well, this analysis is stating that because of this extreme expectation of the ETF coming through, that we could see a higher price as $27 per XRP in the year of 2025. And man, would I be some kind of excited to see that one. It sounds a little too good to be true. And I don't necessarily believe that the ETF is that powerful of an indicator. But where the analysis breaks down to is, well, it really comes down to just how much money comes flowing in after the ETFs are approved. And that I would completely agree with. If we see $1 trillion come pouring into the XRP ETF, well, then we're going to see astronomical prices for our XRP. If we see it not really get that type of adoption, well, then we might have middling results in between. But I knew this one would be fairly exciting for most out there because, well, just like a lot of y'all, I have a fairly good amount of XRP. And so I sure hope that they are right. I sure hope that they are correct. And other things that they point towards here in terms of the article is that there are a lot of different applications for XRP ETFs from Bitwise, Grayscale, Franklin Templeton, 21 Shares. The SEC appears to be signaling that it intends to actually go ahead and do it. And the launch of XRP future ETFs by the CME Group on May 19th saw $19 million in first day trading volume. 3 companies across different sectors have unveiled plans to invest over $471 million in XRP treasuries, including Weebus International with a $300 million XRP strategic reserve filing with the SEC. That is the Chinese firm Weebus is filing for a $300 million XRP treasury. All very, very, very bullish. Very bullish. And yeah, I see on this one, in terms of a lot of the opinion pieces, I don't like to go through and read too much into it because, well, I don't want anyone saying that Zach says it's going to be worth $50 by the end of the year, but I'm not the one saying it. They're saying it. And yes, there are some that are going as high as $50 if major players like BlackRock step in. And so it's very exciting. It's extremely exciting right now in terms of not just XRP, but everything in the crypto space. We've got the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve being pushed through in terms of Congress. We've got major companies making massive investments into Bitcoin Strategic Reserves. We've got massive adoption coming all over the place. We're seeing new uses of blockchain technology with things like the tokenized land sales in the Central African Republic. I could not be more optimistic about where we could go in terms of cryptocurrency prices, but we all need to remain. Hey, it looks like my signal just went out there for a second, but I think I've managed to pop back because my signal is now saying that it's looking particularly rough on my end. I'm going to rush through answering some questions. And then because we have made it through all of our articles, I think we might end up having a little bit of a short class this morning. Neil Brooks, Zester, does the government know who owns all of my wallets? Neil Brooks, that's a very good question. And so, Neil, that one actually comes down to it depends. And Neil, let me give it to you in one way. And so, when you made a Coinbase account, or you made any way to be able to get cryptocurrency onto the blockchain, you connected your name to that. Now, say you used a credit or debit card. Well, that transaction connected you with that wallet that received the cryptocurrency. A connection was made. Your credit card in your name was used to purchase crypto that was deposited to this wallet. Now, the government can make a fairly solid assumption that you own that wallet or you are in some way controlling that wallet. Now, when you go and you made a Coinbase account or you made any other way in order to be able to buy or sell crypto, you connected your name to that account. Now, when you withdrew cryptocurrency from Coinbase and you went to your own personal wallet, you have made a connection now. Now, we could make an assumption that that is probably Neil's wallet. So the government is trying to go through and figure this out, but it is a massive, massive endeavor in order to actually do it. But so the short answer is, Neil, they absolutely can. They absolutely can, but they haven't yet. Now, whenever you do something, though, like you send money from your cryptocurrency wallet to Coinbase, and then you send that to your bank account, understand that just made that connection happen. That is now obviously your wallet. Your wallet sent to Coinbase, and then from Coinbase, it was deposited into your bank account. We can make a very, very solid assumption that it was your wallet that sent that money to Coinbase. And so in that way, Neil, the blockchain does essentially connect everybody's names out. In a way, I can go through and I can find every wallet that you've ever interacted with, Neil. Now, there are a variety of ways to actually get around this. There are different services that will allow you to essentially make crypto disappear on both ends. Something that you could also do is you could utilize any centralized exchange that doesn't require KYC. You deposit your crypto into a centralized exchange that doesn't require KYC, so they don't know who you are. And then you actually withdraw to a brand new wallet that has never been used before. Well, now think about it. The actual trail went dead because you deposited into that centralized exchange that doesn't know who you are. And then you withdrew from that centralized exchange to a brand new wallet that has no connection to you. Remember how centralized exchanges work. It's a big pile of crypto, and there's no way of splitting up and figuring out who's whose. And so that means when you actually went ahead and you deposited into that centralized exchange, you put your money into a big old pot, and then you withdrew to a brand new wallet that had never been connected. You now have suddenly actually disconnected the path lines. And so there are a lot of ways to go about this, but keep in mind that if the government truly wants to, they will know which wallets are yours, but they can't stop you from using that wallet. But they can figure out that's Neil's, but they can't stop Neil from using Neil's wallet. But they can definitely know, hey, I think it's that Neil guy. They can figure that one out. So that's a great question, Neil. And it gets into a lot of complexity because there are a variety of ways to ensure that you're not seen. And yeah, Jeremy put out another example. Tornado Cash is another example in that regard. Because Tornado Cash actually allows for, it's considered a mixer. And so what you do with a mixer service is you would send crypto into it. And what it would do is it would literally send 1,000 million transactions all over the place and mix your cryptocurrency up with a bunch of other cryptocurrencies and then spit it out on the other end to a brand new wallet that you made. And then what you've just managed to do is you've effectively cleaned all of that money of any of its past history, and it is fresh. And so it's a very interesting one. And I have a feeling in the coming years, there's going to be a lot of people hired to be forensic blockchain analysts in the coming years, because it's a very limited group of people that understand how to track things fully on the blockchain. And it's going to be a very, very valuable service in the coming years as we see more adoption and more funny business going on. All right, though, guys. With that one, I'm going to go ahead and bid everyone adieu this morning because something is kind of going crazy now with my screen. Ever since the signal went all wonky, anytime I go to click any of the different chats, I seem to have some very weird graphical bugs occurring on my side. And so I'm not certain if those are coming through the stream, but I hope everyone has an amazing Monday. I hope everyone has a great start to the week, and hopefully that XRP analysis at $25 and that ETF approval happens very, very soon. I will be back at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. And so I will see everyone again back here, same time on Wednesday for Trump Day. And then, of course, I am hoping to have actually a few other little things coming out from the Crazy Kryptonaut, hopefully on Wednesday, but we'll see. Maybe things get done before then. But all right, guys, love you all. Have an amazing, amazing week, and I will see y'all very, very soon.